Hi, I'm Phil Buff, and welcome to part 7 of Movie Marathon Madness, the SpongeBob specials. Now, you might be wondering, Phil Buff, wasn't the last video part 6 on Movie Marathon Madness, the SpongeBob specials? Why would you immediately go to do part 7? It's because I took last week off to go on vacation, and for the next few weeks, I'll have vlogs about Arlo the Alligator Boy, Falcon the Winter Soldier, and Invincible. So, forgive me for talking about SpongeBob again. Anyway, on with the video. The episode's about a weird goo coming from Goo Lagoon. Everybody thinks that it's all nice and fun, but Sandy thinks that the goo is dangerous. But it turns out that the goo actually isn't dangerous. Sandy's just crazy. And Plankton's using it as a way to steal the Krabby Patty formula. And this is the thing that really bothers me with a lot of episodes during this time. Specifically, some of the specials that you guys have seen throughout this retrospective. Plankton tends to hijack the plot a lot. They take normal episodes that usually would have nothing to do with them, like, say, an environmental episode, or a race episode, or a B-movie type of thing, and suddenly they decide to make it about Plankton trying to steal the Krabby Patty formula. We've seen it with SpongeBob Last Stand, where that should have been a simple environmental message, but it was just a way for Plankton to steal the Krabby Patty formula. We've seen it with Frozen Face Off, which should have just been a race for SpongeBob and the gang to get back home to escape a frozen wasteland, but it became a race to get back home to stop Plankton from stealing the Krabby Patty formula. And now we have this episode, which should have just been a simple B-movie parody about stopping the goo from destroying Bikini Bottom, and we turned it into a way to stop Plankton from using the goo to destroy the Krusty Krab, and to not give his big little paws on the Krabby Patty formula. This episode also falls into the trap that many other seasons 7, 6, and 8 episodes do, with a lot of filler of just SpongeBob and Patrick and the various Bikini Bottomites just running around Goo Lagoon and having fun with the various types of goo. This episode just drags. It could easily have just been 11 minutes. I mean, that's the thing with most of the episodes we've talked about. Even some of the good ones, they could have just been 11 minutes. And a lot of the jokes just aren't funny. Sure, a couple made me chuckle, but the grand majority of them will just leave you either just staring at the screen in silence, or have you cringe beyond your belief. Just what is with these writers and the inability to make people laugh? This is a comedy series after all. If you want to see a good example of a B-movie style episode, go check out Planet of the Jellyfish from Season 8. It is a far better attempt at satirizing B-movies than this episode could ever dream of. And it has a lot of cute ideas, and it's pretty funny. So, yeah, go check it out if you haven't seen it already. This episode, on the other hand, can suck it. No, God, no. This episode sucked. It is a horrible episode. Please, don't make me watch it. No. Okay. Gotta calm down for a minute. So, as the title implies, this episode is about SpongeBob getting fired from the Krusty Krab. And what reason did Mr. Krabs have to fire his best employee?
And it turns out that I'll save a whole nickel if I cut your salary. Completely.
I'm sorry. What?
It turns out that I'll save a whole nickel if I cut your salary.
No. Play that clip again. I want to hear this shit again.
And it turns out that I'd save a whole nickel if I cut your salary.
Are you freaking kidding me? You fire the best employee that you've ever had for what? Just so you could save one freaking nickel? A nickel isn't worth that much. It is 5 cents. maybe if this was the 30s, then that probably would have meant a lot. But no, it's just a nickel. A nickel is like nothing. Well, it's like one piece of candy. One tiny little piece of candy for a nickel. Like save a nickel to get rid of your best employee. Cut his salary completely. What world does that make sense? Mr. Krabs, I know you're stingy, but this has got to be the dumbest thing you've ever made in your lifetime. The greediest thing that Mr. Krabs has ever done. Yeah, there's abusing Gary just to get money. There's manipulating his employees to get money. There's manipulating his daughter to get money. Stuff like that. But I'm sorry, this has to take the cake. You fire your best employee you've ever had, who you treated like a son, just for a nickel.
A nickel!
That not only makes no business sense, it makes no common sense. What the hell? And for over half the episode, SpongeBob is completely miserable and really out of character for him simply because he got fired. Despite the fact that this wasn't even the first time he got fired. And this episode could also be very harmful to kids, basically teaching them that you're completely worthless without a job, which is not true. And apparently, SpongeBob can't do anything aside from make Krabby Patties, despite the fact that we have seen through numerous points throughout the show that he has multiple different interests and hobbies. This episode does nothing but piss me off in every single scene. I mean, it is so bad. I dare say it was probably the worst episode that I've seen. Not for this video, but for this entire series. It is that bad. I hate this episode. I loathe it. If I ever have to watch this episode again, I'm gonna freaking kill myself, dude. I am going to kill myself, and I'm going to kill the nearest sea sponge next to me. God, this episode fucking sucks. This episode is about Mr. Krabs selling frozen Krabby Patties in grocery stores with Patrick as the mascot. The patties end up becoming so popular that they had to shut down the main Krusty Krab and turn it into a Krusty Krab museum. SpongeBob is not happy about this. But it turns out that the patties actually have a big secret, and SpongeBob and Patrick's friendship is in jeopardy. This episode is almost like SpongeBob's Last Stand done right. Two things that SpongeBob holds very dear to his heart are now in jeopardy and gone down the toilet. And it kind of reminds me of Friend or Foe in a way, where it actually warrants the longer running time, with each half feeling like its own separate episode. The first half is about the making of the frozen Krabby Patties and showing SpongeBob and Patrick's friendship, and the second half is about the aftermath of the Patty's success and SpongeBob and Patrick's friendship going in jeopardy. But this episode does have its fair share of flaws. For starters, I think that it focuses a bit too much on SpongeBob and Patrick's friendship, and should have focused more time on the Krusty Krab being a museum and the frozen Krabby stuff. Especially since the episode is called Goodbye Krabby Patty, I would like to see more of the Krabby Patty stuff. Plus, we never really get an explanation for why they ended up changing the ingredient for the Krabby Patties, which is the big thing about this episode. Why would you need to change something that is so beloved? The episode doesn't really give a good job on explaining that. But overall, for the most part, I had a decent time with this episode. It's really well made, and I highly enjoyed it. I don't know if it's 200th episode worthy good, but it's still a well-made episode, and I recommend you check it out. Like Shanghai, this is another example of something that's technically not as special, but it is longer than a normal episode, and Patchy's in it, so screw it. The episode is about a mysterious green moon showing up at Bikini Bottom that's turning everyone into primitive state. It turns out this is Neptune's moon. Every 100 years, it pops out of a volcano and turns the citizens of Bikini Bottom into primitive state for 2 hours. However, it only affects sea creatures. So, Sandy has to keep all her friends captive in order to prevent them from killing each other in the 2 hours. Especially ones that are natural predators in real life. So, I like this episode. A lot. It's probably one of the best episodes from the post-sequel era of the show. And yeah, I had a lot of fun watching this one. And one of the things that I find really cool about it is that it finally gave an explanation to the French narrator. We all thought it was just a narrator, but no. The French narrator is an actual character named Frenchie, and I find that very cool. It's awesome. It's so funny. And apparently Sandy and Frenchie know each other, and Frenchie and Patchy know each other, so that is amazing. Wait, was Frenchie the Cyclops diver from the SpongeBob SquarePants movie? Another thing that I like about this episode is that it's actually a good learning tool for someone who wants to get into marine biology, which is fitting since the show's creator was actually a marine biologist before he started working in animation. So, yeah, I imagine that this was the creator's basically love letter to marine biology. I mean, the show itself is his love letter to marine biology, but this episode especially has the most accuracy to marine biology since the characters are in their realistic, natural, primitive form, and we get to learn a lot about what these actual sea creatures are like. We get to know the real science behind a lobster or a starfish or an octopus. Yes, Squidward is an octopus, not a squid. I don't know why they named him that either. If there's any word that can describe this episode, it's fun. This episode was a whole lot of fun to watch when it first aired, and it was a whole lot of fun to watch for this video, and I will no doubt watch it many more times in the future, just like I do with some of the earlier episodes, because it is such a good one, and I highly recommend you check this one out. It's definitely up there with one of the series' best, in my personal opinion. Only 4 more episodes to go, people. Be sure to join me next month, where we will talk... Only 4 more episodes to go, people. Be sure to join me next month for Movie Marathon Madness, the SpongeBob Specials, Part 8, the finale. Yeah. That's it.